माना जा रहा है कि 5 सदस्यीय टीम बन सकती है। 4 अगस्त को अगली सुनवाई होगी, तो उस सुनवाई में माना जा रहा है कि जो केंद्र सरकार और राज्य सरकार को निर्देश देंगी कि वो पुरातत्वविदों की टीम गठित करे, एसआई सर्वे को करे। तो ऐसे में पुरातत्व विभाग की जो टीम होगी उसका प्रशासन को जो पूरा प्रारूप प्रशासन तय करेगा कि कितने बजे सर्वे होगा, कब से सर्वे होगा, कितने दिन सर्वे होगा, कौन कौन लोग सर्वे में शामिल होंगे, कौन कौन से पुरातत्वविद शामिल होंगे। बीएचयू से भी पुरातत्वविद लिया सकते हैं, दिल्ली से भी पुरातत्वविद लिया सकते हैं, लखनऊ से भी क्या पुरातत्व। तो एक टीम तय होगी, एक पूरा जिसे कह सकते हैं कमेटी तय होगी। वो कमेटी आके अदालत को बताएगी कि कैसे वो लोग एसआई सर्वे करेंगे, कैसे लोग विज्ञानिक परीक्षण करेंगे, या चूंकि वहां पर धार्मिक स्थल का मामला है तो ऐसे में बिना किसी खंडित हुए कौन कौन सी ऐसी टेक्निक है इसमें, भारत में जिन टेक्निक से पुरातत्व की जांच हो रही है तो वो
Let's quickly go back to Ananya, who continues to stay with us. Ananya, what comes to mind is this really a big win for the Hindu side, considering the Wazukhana is still off limits, where the contentious fountain actually is?
Well, definitely it is a very, very big win, because you have to understand that if at all the ASI survey confines and is also coincides with the claim of the Hindu side, then definitely it also points out that, you know, the structure that is found there might be a shivling. But all these questions would be only answered after the Archaeological Survey of India actually conducts a survey. Now, what would be interesting, Akansha, to see is that whether this survey could actually take place, or whether there would be challenges to it before the topmost court of the country, or the Allahabad High Court. And this is again stayed as it was with regards to the area regarding to the Wazukhana. And if at all this survey is allowed for, if at all the survey is conducted, and then it comes out to be, you know, a big win for the Hindu side as well, then definitely that particular orders of the topmost court of the country can also be challenged by the Hindu side, clearly saying that, you know, the other areas, the other structures that are existing in that particular premises that is under contention is, you know, a Hindu temple was built before Aurangzeb's time, and that's the reason why, in fact, what is found at the Wazukhana is something that is a shivling and not a fountain. So all that can be used by the Hindu side after Archaeological Survey of India report comes in, after the Archaeological Survey of India conducts a particular survey, and in fact the court has asked the ASI to conclude its survey and submit a final report by August 4. First, the court would be apprised as to how the ASI would be conducting this particular survey, and when this survey is actually conducted, the final report would also be given out to the Varanasi court, which has seized off this particular matter. Remember that it was the topmost court of the country, that is the Supreme Court of India, which had directed all the matters pertaining to the Gyanvapi to actually go before the district judge. Since district judge is a seasoned lower court judge, he has a particular amount of experience, particular years of experience, and now the matter can come before the Allahabad High Court and the Supreme Court as well. So what would be the next step from the Muslim side? Would it be Allahabad High Court or the Supreme Court? That would be answered in a few more days, and we'll have to see as to how in fact the whole of this matter goes up to the topmost court of the country.
And having said that, Ananya, how significant is this time period going to be now for the Muslim side as well, considering the next hearing is going to be taking place on August 4?
Well, the next hearing is on August 4. Between this particular time, they can actually approach the Allahabad High Court of the Supreme Court. They can challenge this particular order and can actually seek a stay on the ASI survey that is being conducted. However, whenever this will happen, the Supreme Court would or would not intervene is something that we'll get to know when the matter reaches either the Allahabad High Court or the Supreme Court. So definitely a big win coming in for the Hindu side, troubles for the Muslim side coming in into this particular case with ASI survey being ordered, because remember, if at all the ASI, the Archaeological Survey of India, says that it was a Hindu temple that was built before Aurangzeb's time and Aurangzeb demolished this particular temple, then definitely this case is going in favor of the Hindu side, and we are already seeing the Supreme Court already seized of two matters, one pertaining to the Gyanvapi case that is to be heard on August 29, and another with regards to, the Krishna Janmabhoomi case, which is also to be heard after 3 weeks today. So definitely a very, very significant order coming in for the Hindu side, though the details of which would be coming out in a short while from now. When the court actually gives out a detailed order copy, we'll get to see what are the guidelines that are set for the Archaeological Survey of India, whether there are certain timelines given to the ASI or some kind of, the Archaeological Survey of India has been asked to not go to a particular area, not to touch a particular thing, or there is a ways that is, given to the Archaeological Survey of India to conduct its operations and to conduct this survey. So definitely a big win for the Hindu side, but obviously a troublesome task coming in for the Archaeological Survey of India yet again, after, if you remember, the Archaeological Survey of India had also conducted a survey in the Ram Janmabhoomi case, which was a very, very crucial evidence when the Ram Janmabhoomi case was heard by the topmost of the country. And this would also be another very, very crucial evidence when the survey is actually conducted by the Archaeological Survey of India.
When you asked Vishnu Jain about the time frame when the ASI can conduct this survey, he said that it can happen any time between 3 to 6 months. But at the same time, he also had given earlier an example of the Ram Janmabhoomi case, where in fact it took 3 years for the ASI to conduct its survey.
Well, definitely, in the Ram Janmabhoomi case, the area of contention was much of a larger size. It was almost double the size of what is there at the Adi Visheshwar temple, and that's the reason why, in fact, Vishnu was also saying that, in that case it took almost 3 years to do that particular survey. It was ordered in 2002 and then happened in 2005. The report came in 2005, while in this case we might see that the Advocate Commissioner's survey or the ASI survey actually takes place in a span of months or probably 1 year. That is for the Archaeological Survey of India to decide. However, periodical reports might also be sent to the court by the ASI when the survey actually begins, with regards to how is the survey going, what has so far been found, and when the final report actually comes in, the court would be examining that particular report and would be seeing as to how and what is the finding of the Archaeological Survey of India. But all of that can only happen if there is no bar from any higher court in this. So Muslim side would definitely be approaching, in fact, the Allahabad High Court or the Supreme Court. And as we spoke to Vishnu, we asked him this particular question as well. So he is also prepared. The Hindu side would be filing caveats both before the Allahabad High Court and the Supreme Court, so that if at all any kind of appeal is made by the Muslim side, then the Hindu side is also heard before any order is passed in this particular case.
So when you talk about the reports that are going to be submitted by the ASI on 4th of August, will that also be a periodical report that will be submitted by the ASI, or will this be the final report?
Well, as far as the court has said that, the Archaeological Survey is to conduct its survey and then give out a report to August 4. This is a clear direction for the Archaeological Survey to conduct the survey by August 4. However, if the survey actually needs more time, if the Archaeological Survey thinks that there is more time needed, it would not be possible in this particular span of time, then the Archaeological Survey of India can go on and so seek for more time and say that, this particular time frame of either 4 months, 6 months or whatever the Archaeological Survey of India feels fit, can actually direct, ask the court to direct that, this much time should be given, and then the survey can actually continue in this particular case. Whether or not that would be a final report is something that we'll get to know when the Archaeological Survey of India actually decides as to how, by which method and in what time frame does it want to conduct this particular survey that is there, has been ordered by the Varanasi District Court.
In fact, there's much to be discussed.
में जो उभर कर सामने आए हैं वो भी लगे हैं, हाई कोर्ट, सुप्रीम कोर्ट, सारे लोग, पूरी टीम अपनी भी लगी है और ये सत्य की विजय है।
तो आप लोग मतलब इस बार स्टे नहीं होने देंगे?
अब हमारा प्रयास यही होगा, स्टे हम नहीं होने देंगे, और ये तो मामला न्यायालय का है, हाई कोर्ट उनका जाने का अधिकार है। उनकी टीम ऑलरेडी पूरी तैयारी कर चुकी है, क्योंकि उनको विश्वास था कि यहाँ पे फैसला हमारे पक्ष में एसआई जांच का आएगा और एसआई सर्वे होगा, इसलिए वो पूरी तैयारी बैठे हुए करके, हो सकता है सोमवार को अपनी दाखिल कर दे। हमारी भी कैबिनेट वहाँ लग चुकी है, ऐसा नहीं है।
देखिए, बड़ी खबर आप सुभाष जी के हवाले, सुभाष जी जो हिंदू कैबिनेट लग चुकी है,
लगेगी। आज तो
आज फैसला आया है, कैबिनेट भी दाखिल हो जाएगा,
तैयारी।
और जो चेहरे की चमक बता रही है कि आप लोग सारे दांव आपके हाथ में,
कोर्ट जाए चाहे सुप्रीम कोर्ट जाए, विजय अपनी होनी है जो है, और वहाँ जो इतिहास बदल के रहेगा, जो
इतिहास बदल के रहेगा।
इतिहास क्या, इतिहास को जो धराशायी किया गया वो इतिहास पुनः
एक दर्शक एक विजय और जानना चाहते हैं, 4 अगस्त को होगा क्या सुभाष जी?
अब 4 अगस्त को कोर्ट जो आएगी, प्रोसीजिंग जो कोर्ट की है, एसआई को नोटिस जाएगा, तमाम चीजें जाएगी, उनकी टीम आएगी, सर्वे किस तरह करेंगे, क्या टीम उनकी होगी, ये तय होगा कोर्ट में सारी चीजें।
4 अगस्त को कितने बजे सुनवाई होगी?
अब वही लंच के बाद सुनवाई होगी, इसलिए आगे की जो प्रोसीजिंग है वो चलेगी।
इसमें आज राज्य सरकार की, केंद्र सरकार के वकील भी उपस्थित रहे?
बिल्कुल, सारे लोग उपस्थित थे, सारे पक्ष जो मुस्लिम पक्ष भी उपस्थित था, हम लोग भी हैं। हर्ष का विषय हमारे लिए टर्निंग पॉइंट है, बधाई हो, पूरे देश को हम बधाई देना चाहते हैं। पुनः जो है मीडिया का भी पुनः जो है हम उस रिवर्स की ओर बढ़ रहे हैं जहां से हमारे सभ्यता, हमारी संस्कृति को धराशायी किया गया था। उठने के लिए हम पूरी तरह तैयार हैं, फिर खड़े होने जा रहे हैं, और ये एसआई का फैसला बहुत जल्द जो है।
एक सामान्य उत्सुकता और भी है दर्शकों की कि जैसे सर्वे का आदेश हो गया तो अब प्रक्रिया की चीजें क्या होंगी, कैसे सर्वे होगा, ये भी दर्शक समझना चाहते हैं।
सारी चीजें कोर्ट में एसआई
होता है क्या?
एसआई अपनी टीम बताएगी कि हमारी टीम किस हिसाब से, किस तरह, हम किस टेक्नोलॉजी से जांच करेंगे, सर्वे करेंगे, एसआई बताएगा उनकी टीम में क्या रहेगा, उनका ये मामला है। ये कोर्ट, हम लोग भी भाई इसमें शामिल, हमारे अधिवक्ता भी रहेंगे, पक्षकार भी रहेंगे, लेकिन एसआई की जो वैज्ञानिक टीम है, जो उनकी ऑथेंटिक टीम है, किस तरह जाँच करेगी, ये तो वो बताएंगे ना, वो कैसे जांच करेंगे। कोर्ट ने आदेश कर दिया कि आपको जांच करना है, सर्वे करना है, अब वो बताएंगे, कोर्ट में अपना दाखिल करेंगे कि हम किस तरह जो है इसकी जांच करेंगे।
तो आपने सुना, सुभाष जी थे हमारे साथ, जो ये बता रहे थे कि किस तरीके से जांच होगी, तमाम सारे जो मुद्दे हैं उनको लेकर, और जो है लगातार फैसला आने के बाद जो मंदिर पक्ष है वो बेहद उत्साहित है। मंदिर पक्ष को लगातार उम्मीद है कि जिस तरीके से अब ये फैसला आया है तो एसआई सर्वे से भी आगे कहानी बढ़ेगी, और ये आप लगातार जो है ये आप देखिए भी कि किस तरीके से यहाँ पर हलचल है, और लगातार जो बड़ी तरह से लोग हैं वो भी पहुंचे हैं। क्या नाम है आपका?
मैं प्रिंस केसी माना करता हूं।
प्रिंस जी, आप देखिए ये वो लोग हैं जिनका केस से कोई वो नहीं, मगर ये सिर्फ ये चाहते हैं कि मंदिर इनका बन जाए। तो क्या कहेंगे आज?
और बात कहना चाहूंगा, तिरंगा मेरी मान है और भगवा मेरी जान है।
भगवा मेरी शान है। तो क्या कहेंगे अब, आपको लगता है कि मंदिर बन जाएगा?
एकदम बन जाएगा, एकदम बन जाएगा मंदिर।
विशेषज्ञ सबके सामने बहुत जल्द आएंगे।
अच्छा, कितना इस फैसले से खुश हैं आप लोग?
बहुत
लेंगे तो बाबा का हो जाए।
हर हर बम बम, हर हर बम बम, हर हर बम बम, हर हर बम बम।
तो हर हर बम बम, ये वो नौजवान हैं जो सुबह से यहाँ पर इसलिए मौजूद थे कि क्या फैसला आ रहा है, क्या फैसला आएगा, इन सब फैसलों को सुनने के लिए यहाँ पर मौजूद थे। और कोशिश सिर्फ इतनी थी इनकी कि इनको बस इतनी उम्मीद थी कि एसआई सर्वे को लेकर आदेश आ जाए, और वो आदेश आ गया है। ऐसे तमाम सारे लोग यहाँ पर पहुंचे हैं सिर्फ इस फैसले को जानने के लिए, सिर्फ इस फैसले को सुनने के लिए। तो क्या कहेंगे, इनसे बात करते। क्या नाम है आपका?
अजय गुप्ता।
अजय, क्या कहेंगे इस फैसले के लिए?
फैसला बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है हम लोग के लिए। भगवा में
देखिए हमारे साथ संतोष जी जुड़ गए हैं, विश्व वैदिक सनातन संघ के अंतर्राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष। संतोष जी, आपके संघर्ष को, पसीने को आज मंजिल मिली, नतीजा आपके फेवर में आया?
बिल्कुल मंजिल मिली है, और सनातनी हिंदुओं को ये जो मंजिल मिली है, ये मंजिल एएसआई सर्वे से सिद्ध करेगी कि वो मंदिर था, है और रहेगा।
अच्छा, तो अब आप लोग लगता है कि क्या आप लोग की तैयारी है, क्योंकि पिछली बार जब ये कभी ऐसे आदेश हुआ था तो स्टे हो गया था, तो कैविएट की तैयारी है आप लोगों की?
देखिए ऐसा है।
Right, Advocate Harishankar Jain is joining me on the phone line. Harishankar Jain जी, ये एक बहुत ही बड़ा दिन है, आपको बहुत बहुत मुबारकबाद देना चाहेंगे। सबसे पहला सवाल यही होगा कि कोर्ट का क्या कहना है, उस पर थोड़ी और डिटेल में हमें लाइट थ्रो करिए इस पूरे कोर्ट के ऑर्डर पे। अभी तो ऑर्डर अवेटेड है, लेकिन कोर्ट ने आपके लिए एक बहुत बड़ा विन बोला जा रहा है, पर क्यों बोला जा रहा है ये?
देखिए ऐसा है कि कोई चीज जमीन के अंदर है तो उसकी सच्चाई तभी आएगी जब बाहर निकाली जाए। सारी चीजें दबा दी गई हैं। हिंदू मंदिर था, उसको तोड़कर औरंगजेब के जमाने में एक तथाकथित मस्जिद का निर्माण हुआ। हिंदू पक्ष बराबर कह रहा है वो मंदिर था। तब ये जो जांच होगी इससे मालूम पड़ जाएगा कि वहां पर मंदिर था कि नहीं था। एक बात। दूसरी बात, जो ओरिजिनल शिवलिंग है वो आज भी मेन गुम्बद के नीचे दबा हुआ है। जब खुदाई होगी, जांच होगी, तो भी मालूम पड़ेगा। जो तहखाना है, जितने तहखाने हैं उसमें हिंदू मंदिर के चिन्ह मिलेंगे, श्लोक संस्कृत के मिलेंगे और तरह तरह की चीजें मिलेंगी। तो ऐसा ही उनकी एज डिटरमिन करेगा कितने पुराने हैं, कब के हैं, और वह पूजा कब से हो रही थी, क्या हो रही थी, मंदिर के अवशेष क्या क्या है, क्या बचा हुआ है, ये सारी चीजें सामने आएंगी। और ये चीज सामने आने का मतलब हिंदू पक्ष का ये दावा कि मंदिर तोड़कर मस्जिद बनाई गई है, जो कि बिल्कुल किसी कानून में संभव नहीं है, वो साबित हो जाएगा। इसके बाद वहां भव्य मंदिर बनने का क्लियर हो जाएगा।
जैन साहब, एक सवाल जो अभी भी नहीं आंसर हुआ है कि एएसआई ने साफ साफ क्लियर कर दिया है कि वजू खाना को कोई भी डैमेज नहीं होना चाहिए। ये तो आप भी जानते हैं कि वजू खाना कितनी इंपॉर्टेंट जगह है, वहां पे अगर कार्बन डेटिंग नहीं होएगी तो क्या ये तब भी प्रूव हो जाएगा कि ये एक टेम्पल था?
वजू खाना नाम की कोई चीज वहां नहीं है। एक एरिया है जिसको ये वजू खाना कहते थे, वो आज की तारीख में 16 मई 2022 से सील है। और वहां पर भगवान भोलेनाथ का विशाल शिवलिंग मौजूद है। वो एरिया सुप्रीम कोर्ट के आदेश से सील है, बाकी परिसर खुला हुआ है। तो जो ऑर्डर हुआ है वो ये हुआ, जो सील एरिया है उसको छोड़कर बाकी पूरे एरिया का सर्वे हो, जिसमें कि आज जो तथाकथित मस्जिद का जो एरिया है जहाँ लोग नमाज अदा करते हैं गैर कानूनी ढंग से, उसके नीचे जो तहखाना है और जमीन के नीचे जो मेन गुम्बद है उसके नीचे ओरिजिनल ज्योतिर्लिंग मौजूद है, वो सामने सबके सामने आ जाए और सब बातें साबित हो जाए।
तो हरिशंकर जैन जी, आप ये कह रहे हैं कि जो बचा हुआ परिसर है जो सील्ड नहीं है, अगर उसमें जितने भी हिंदू गॉड्स या गॉडेसेस के कोई भी अगर अंश बचे हुए हैं वो खुदाई के दौरान या एक्सकवेशन के दौरान अगर निकलते हैं, तो फिर हम ये एक्सपेक्ट करें कि एक मंदिर वहां पे खड़ा होगा?
नहीं, एक्सपेक्ट नहीं करें। वहां पर जो पुरानी मंदिर है उसके न्यू आज भी है मौजूद है। जो पश्चिमी दीवार है, पश्चिमी दीवार बिल्कुल क्लियर है कि पश्चिमी दीवार पर माँ गौरी के, श्रृंगार गौरी के और विभिन्न हिंदू देवी देवताओं के चिन्ह है। वो दीवार जो मंदिर जो आज भी है वो गिराई नहीं गई है।
जैन साहब, मुस्लिम पक्ष अब सुप्रीम कोर्ट या हाई कोर्ट, जैन साहब अगर मुस्लिम पक्ष सुप्रीम कोर्ट या हाई कोर्ट को अप्रोच करेगा इलाहाबाद में, तो आप क्या करेंगे? क्या आप कैविएट फाइल करने के लिए तैयार हैं?
बिल्कुल। देखिए ऐसा है, ये जहां जाएंगे पीछे मैं चलूंगा, स्वागत करूंगा। हाई कोर्ट जाए, सुप्रीम कोर्ट जाए, जो भी उचित निर्णय ले और जो भी ऑब्जेक्शन या अपील रिवीजन जो भी फाइल करेंगे, हम उसमें तुरंत हाजिर रहेंगे और उसका विरोध करेंगे।
और अब बस ये बता दीजिए कि हिंदूज कब से वर्शिप करना शुरू कर देंगे वहां पे? हिंदूज कब से पूजा कर सकते हैं?
अभी तो नहीं हो पाएगी। जब केस हम जीतेंगे तो नए मंदिर का निर्माण होगा, और जैसे अयोध्या में नया मंदिर निर्माण हो रहा है
जी,
और हम वहां पर पूजा करेंगे। हमको ओरिजिनल ज्योतिर्लिंग सामने लाना है।
जी, हरिशंकर जैन जी, मुझसे बात करने के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और आपको बहुत बहुत बधाई। So that was Harishankar Jain representing the Hindu side, and with that it's time to slip into a quick break. Don't go anywhere. News and updates follow on CNN News 18.
Yeah, Evgen Scheller, very good morning. Loud and clear copy. I'm at the base station. There's a clip going on live on Tanker Victor. Demo to them. FG and JPN, over.
Copy that, sir. Copy that.
Yeah, thank you. Fine and copy. DCS is also with you?
So he is between me and you.
Okay, Delta Chaliye ko JPN. Yeah, you are coming in. You are coming 5757 over.
We are right here at the Kisanwadi village, where this particular landslide took place late last night. Around 11:30 p.m. was when the landslide took place. Now the NDRF team has called off its rescue operation. You can see the team coming down all the way from the top. The hill that you see, in fact behind this hill, the one that's covered in fog, is where the incident took place late last night. Ever since then, rescue operation is constantly on. It will begin again tomorrow at 5 a.m. Right now, the challenges that are being faced by the NDRF team is that there is very low visibility. Like you can also see in these visuals, the entire area is covered in fog. Also, it's constantly raining around this area. This was something that even Chief Minister Eknath Shinde who visited the spot all the way until there mentioned that they had kept helicopters ready for the rescue operation, but rains and the visibility there is making it even more difficult to get any access. And in fact, this is the base camp where we are from here. The route towards this particular village where this incident took place is approximately 2.5 hours by foot. There is no other way that any kind of help can in fact reach there. The only way is this small route wherein only one person can walk at a time. Also with the rains, it is becoming even more difficult because the entire area has become mucky and people are slipping around that spot. So the accessibility is a problem, which is where at the end of this day, closing it, in fact, NDRF team has mentioned that they had rescued 21 people and so far 16 people have been declared dead.
Quite a tragic incident that has taken place, and you can constantly see the visuals on your screen as to how the particular situation has panned out and how the rescue operations are taking place. We have Yasha Kotok from the particular ground joining us live on this broadcast. Yasha, a very good morning to you. Well, rescue operations have been resumed, and what information are we receiving post the teams have resumed their work this morning, and what are the difficulties they are facing on the ground even now?
So yes, the rescue operations have started again early this morning. Last night, after there was low visibility, also considering that once the sun sets, the area which does not really have any kind of electricity arrangement, there's no possibility that NDRF can continue its operation. The NDRF team had in fact reached the previous night around 12 o'clock, following which the operation had only begun in the morning because of the visibility problem. This morning, considering NDRF team has reached the spot, now the major challenge here is that this particular area, this particular village, that is the Isalgarh Wadi village, is on top of a hill wherein accessibility is a problem for NDRF team to take medical supplies also up there. It will take anywhere between 2 to 2.5 hours of a trek along a route which is filled with muck, and it's constantly pouring and there's fog, which is where visibility is a problem, accessibility is a problem with the rain, and which is where now, considering that most of these houses, they are in 40 to 50 feet of mud, rescuing people or even getting dead bodies out is a big challenge. In fact, what was seen yesterday was that as of now, the death reported is 16. Those who were reported dead, there was a post-mortem conducted at that particular village spot itself, and they were given a burial close to the landslide area. Those who were being rescued were being brought down to the base camp. Let us tell you, base camp to the landslide location is approximately 2.5 hours of trek. We've seen that there were several ministers, including Chief Minister Eknath Shinde, who had reached that spot, which is a very difficult terrain to, in fact, reach. But now, considering that the NDRF operations are on,
Maharashtra, wherein even as bad weather hampers rescue operations at the landslide affected region in Maharashtra's Raigad, the NDRF teams have resumed the rescue operations in order to evacuate those trapped inside the debris, and the last rites of those who have passed away in the landslide will be conducted. So far, as per figures that have been shared by the NDRF, 16 people have been reported dead, while 21 were rescued alive, and 75 people were safely evacuated from the village. Chief Minister Eknath Shinde also visited the spot on Thursday. Let's take a look at what all happened in Maharashtra yesterday.
महाराष्ट्र के रायगढ़ जिले में इरशाल गांव के ऊपर लैंडस्लाइड हो चुका है और इस दुर्घटना में अभी तक 16 जन की मौत हो गई है। इसमें बहुत सारे दिक्कतें आ रही है। अभी नेटवर्क इशू से की वजह से कम्युनिकेशन यहां पर नहीं हो रहा है, लेकिन रिलायंस की तरफ से यहां पर कम्युनिकेशन सेंटर खड़े किए गए हैं। 4 कम्युनिकेशन सेंटर से अभी रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन चालू है और रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन में कम्युनिकेशन सेंटर का अभाव जो है वो पूरा दिख रहा है। हम ये कैसा कम्युनिकेशन सेंटर है, किस तरह से ये चलने वाला है, ये जयप्रकाश जी से पूछने वाले। सर, ये कैसा कम्युनिकेशन सेंटर काम करने वाला है और इसका कितना हेल्प ये रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन में हो जाएगा?
ये जो है VHF सेट है, वेरी हाई फ्रीक्वेंसी, ये डायरेक्ट लाइन ऑफ साइट काम करती है। मतलब डायरेक्ट कम से कम 50 किलोमीटर हम लोग कहीं पे भी ऑल ओवर द सराउंडिंग 50 किलोमीटर हम लोग बात कर सकते हैं इसके थ्रू। और अगर इंटरनेट होगा तो इंटरनेट के थ्रू भी हम लोग बात कर सकते हैं, बट यहाँ पे इंटरनेट कनेक्टिविटी का थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम्स है, मोबाइल रीचेबिलिटी का प्रॉब्लम है, और मोबाइल टू मोबाइल कॉन्टेक्ट करना 1 to 1 पर्सन होता है। अभी हमारा पूरा 17 लोगों की टीम है, 10 हैम रेडियो ऑपरेटर्स है हमारे जैसे, तो ये भी हैम रेडियो ऑपरेटर हमारा कलीग्स है। तो इनके थ्रू जब हम लोग काम करते हैं तो ऑल ओवर द मतलब एक ही साथ हम लोग सबके साथ बात कर सकते हैं। यानी
अभी आपकी एक टीम यहाँ से गई है, उनसे बात हो सकती है कम्युनिकेशन सेंटर से?
यस अनिल JPM।
Welcome back. It's a big day for the Hindu side as the Gyanvapi verdict is out and it is in the favor of the Hindu side. Now, the Varanasi court has granted permission for the scientific survey of the Gyanvapi mosque complex. The petition filed in the case by the Hindu side had sought a direction to the Archaeological Survey of India to survey the entire mosque complex. The ASI has been directed to produce a study report before the court by 4th of August. Remember, a videographic survey of the Gyanvapi complex last year had revealed what the Hindu side had claimed was a shivling inside the mosque premises. Now, the Muslim side has insisted that the structure is merely a fountain. Let's also play out what the Hindu side lawyer Vishnu Jain has to say.
We are being joined by Vishnu Shankar Jain. Vishnu, big order coming in from the Varanasi court. What are your first reactions? What is the order of the court?
This is a very welcome order because we had asked for ASI survey of this entire premises apart from the Wazu tank, and this order has been passed by the Honorable District Court Varanasi. So we are very happy and we are very thankful and grateful to the Honorable District Court Varanasi, which has accepted our demand of ASI survey. The entire area apart from the Wazu tank will be surveyed by the ASI. The central dome, beneath the central dome there are 3 Hindu Mandir Shikhar, that will be examined, that will be investigated. The western wall will be investigated, the pillars will be investigated, Vyasji's Thaikana will be investigated. So these are very important and crucial aspects which will be looked into by the SI, and a report will be submitted which has a value of an expert opinion under section 45 of the Indian Evidence Act, read with order 26 rule 10 of the CPC.
Vishnu, this order has now come in. What would be the techniques that would be used by the archaeological?
See, I cannot as of now say about the techniques. The techniques will be decided by the experts and the scientists after doing the ground inspection and ground.
What are the general techniques that are used?
The general techniques are ground penetration radar, the excavation methods by various other technologies. Apart from that, there will be dating methods. Now, I don't want to use the terminology carbon dating because that can lead to various faults. So let us wait, let the order come, let the SI go and have a spot inspection. Then I will apprise you about the various techniques which will be used by the SI.
Last and final question, would you be filing a caveat in the Supreme Court of the Allahabad High Court? With
yes, definitely we will file the caveat before the Supreme Court, and we will request the Supreme Court and the Allahabad High Court that in the wisdom the Honorable District Court, so far as the trial is concerned, has passed this order, so there is no question of any stay, and let the matter be proceeded with.
All right, CNN News 18 will be very closely tracking the latest on that verdict. In the meantime, it's a quick wrap from my end. Thank you so much for watching.
They're facing on the ground even now.
So yes, the rescue operations have started again early this morning. Last night, after there was low visibility, also considering that once the sun sets, the area which does not really have any kind of electricity arrangement, there's no possibility that NDRF can continue its operation. The NDRF team had in fact reached the previous night around 12 o'clock, following which the operation had only begun in the morning because of the visibility problem. This morning, considering NDRF team has reached the spot, now the major challenge here is that this particular area, this particular village, that is the Isalgar Wadi village, is on top of a hill wherein accessibility is a problem for NDRF team to take medical supplies also up there. It will take anywhere between 2 to 2.5 hours of a trek along a route which is filled with muck, and it's constantly pouring, and there's fog, which is where visibility is a problem, accessibility is a problem with the rain, and which is where now, considering that most of these houses, they are in 40 to 50 feet of mud, rescuing people or even getting dead bodies out is a big challenge. In fact, what was seen yesterday was that as of now, the death reported is 16. Those who were reported dead, there was a post-mortem conducted at that particular village spot itself, and they were given a burial close to the landslide area. Those who were being rescued were being brought down to the base camp. Let us tell you, base camp to the landslide location is approximately 2.5 hours of trek. We've seen that there were several ministers, including Chief Minister Eknath Shinde, who had reached that spot, which is a very difficult terrain to, in fact, reach. But now, considering that the NDRF operations are on,
Maharashtra, wherein even as bad weather hampers rescue operations at the landslide-affected region in Maharashtra's Raigad, the NDRF teams have resumed the rescue operations in order to evacuate those trapped inside the debris, and the last rites of those who have passed away in the landslide will be conducted. So far, as per figures that have been shared by the NDRF, 16 people have been reported dead, while 21 were rescued alive, and 75 people were safely evacuated from the village. Chief Minister Eknath Shinde also visited the spot on Thursday. Let's take a look at what all happened in Maharashtra yesterday.
महाराष्ट्र के रायगढ़ जिले में इरशाल गांव के ऊपर लैंडस्लाइड हो चुका है और इस दुर्घटना में अभी तक 16 जन की मौत हो गई है। इसमें बहुत सारे दिक्कतें आ रही है। अभी नेटवर्क इशू से की वजह से कम्युनिकेशन यहां पर नहीं हो रहा है, लेकिन रिलायंस की तरफ से यहां पर कम्युनिकेशन सेंटर खड़े किए गए हैं। 4 कम्युनिकेशन सेंटर से अभी रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन चालू है और रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन में कम्युनिकेशन सेंटर का अभाव जो है वो पूरा दिख रहा है। हम ये कैसा कम्युनिकेशन सेंटर है, किस तरह से ये चलने वाला है, ये जयप्रकाश जी से पूछने वाले। सर, ये कैसा कम्युनिकेशन सेंटर काम करने वाला है और इसकी कितना हेल्प ये रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन में हो जाएगा?
ये जो है VHF सेट है, वेरी हाई फ्रीक्वेंसी, ये डायरेक्ट लाइन ऑफ साइट काम करती है। मतलब डायरेक्ट कम से कम 50 किलोमीटर हम लोग कहीं पे भी ऑल ओवर द सराउंडिंग 50 किलोमीटर हम लोग बात कर सकते हैं इसके थ्रू। और अगर इंटरनेट होगा तो इंटरनेट के थ्रू भी हम लोग बात कर सकते हैं, बट यहाँ पे इंटरनेट कनेक्टिविटी का थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम्स है, मोबाइल रीचेबिलिटी का प्रॉब्लम है, और मोबाइल टू मोबाइल कांटेक्ट करना 1 to 1 पर्सन होता है। अभी हमारा पूरा 17 लोगों की टीम है, 10 हैमरेडी ऑपरेटर्स है हमारे जैसे, तो ये भी हैमरेडी ऑपरेटर हमारा कलीग्स है। तो इनके थ्रू जब हम लोग काम करते हैं तो ऑल ओवर द मतलब एक ही साथ हम लोग सबके साथ बात कर सकते हैं। यानी
अभी आपकी एक टीम यहाँ से गई है, उनसे बात हो सकती है ये कम्युनिकेशन सेंटर से?
यस। अनिल JPM, FGN JPM, Yeah, FGN Shelar, very good morning. Loud and clear copy. I'm at the base station. There's a clip going on live on Tanker Victor. Demo to them. FGN JPN, over.
Copy that, sir. Copy that.
Yeah, thank you. Fine and copy. DCS is also with you?
So he is between me and you.
Okay, Delta chaliye ko JPN. Yeah, you are coming in. 5757 over.
We are right here at the Isalwadi village where this particular landslide took place late last night. Around 11:30 p.m. was when the landslide took place. Now the NDRF team has called off its rescue operation. You can see the team coming down all the way from the top. The hill that you see, in fact behind this hill, the one that's covered in fog, is where the incident took place late last night. Ever since then, rescue operation is constantly on. It will begin again tomorrow at 5 a.m. Right now, the challenges that are being faced by the NDRF team is that there is very low visibility. Like you can also see in these visuals, the entire area is covered in fog. Also, it's constantly raining around this area. This was something that even Chief Minister Eknath Shinde, who visited the spot all the way until there, mentioned that they had kept helicopters ready for the rescue operation, but rains and the visibility there is making it even more difficult to get any access. And in fact, this is the base camp where we are from here. The route towards this particular village where this incident took place is approximately 2.5 hours by foot. There is no other way that any kind of help can in fact reach there. The only way is this small route wherein only one person can walk at a time. Also, with the rains, it is becoming even more difficult because the entire area has become mucky and people are slipping around that spot. So the accessibility is a problem, which is where at the end of this day, closing it, in fact, NDRF team has mentioned that they had rescued 21 people and so far 16 people have been declared dead.
Quite a tragic incident that has taken place, and you can constantly see the visuals on your screen as to how the particular situation has panned out and how the rescue operations are taking place. We have Yasha Kotok from the particular ground joining.
Good evening. Thanks a lot for for staying with us here at CNN News 18. You're watching Nation at 5 with me, Ridhima Bhatnagar. We're coming to you live from the newsrooms of CNN News 18. Lots to cover over the next 60 minutes this Friday evening. But the top story that we continue to track in great detail is the horror that has happened in Manipur. That video that has come to light of two women who were paraded naked after being raped. Now, more details continue to emerge in terms of the lapses that have happened on multiple levels. We've already spoken about the inaction that happened as far as the police authorities are concerned. If you look at the sequence of events, the episode happened on the 4th of May, but the FIR was filed only on the 18th of May, and the first arrest happened on the 20th of July. After that, 3 more arrests have happened, which means the total arrests now stand at 4. But as I pointed out, there are more lapses that have come to light. Now, a complaint and a letter has also come to light, which was written by members of the Kuki community to the NCW, or the National Commission of Women. And they say that complaint was written 38 days before this video surfaced on social media. Now, they've gone on to claim that they had written in great detail about the horrors that were playing out in Manipur, but they got no response as far as the NCW is concerned. We want to just break down the details in terms of what our members of the Kuki community said and what has the NCW said in its response. The Kuki group is claiming they sent a complaint to the NCW on the 12th of June, which, as I pointed out, was 38 days before this video surfaced on social media. The NCW has countered, saying, "We reached out thrice to authorities." But the larger question also is, why did the NCW not think to follow up as far as inaction is concerned? The tribal groups are also claiming there was no action taken by the NCW for over a month. NCW has countered, saying no response from state authorities. But as I pointed out, why did the NCW not think it was important for them to follow up, considering the fact the letter had details as far as the horrors of the May 4th episode and many others were concerned? The tribal groups are also claiming there was a very clear appeal that was made to the NCW chairperson, but it fell on deaf ears. The NCW's counter has been there was no action taken by the Manipur government. So as I pointed out, the women of Manipur have been let down on multiple levels. The tribal group is also claiming there were 6 episodes of violence and assault that were mentioned in that long mail. The NCW has countered there are attempts to discredit the NCW. Yesterday, the NCW came out and said that we've taken suo motu cognizance and we will be assuring that all possible help and justice is given to the victims as far as the families. But as I pointed out, there are larger questions as far as these lapses are concerned. Also questions as far as the delay in action is concerned. Let's also now bring in our colleague Arunima, who in fact has been tracking these developments very, very closely for us. And Arunima, you in fact have spoken to members of the Kuki community. You've also seen a screenshot of the mail that they claim they sent to the NCW. So am I correct in understanding this mail was sent 38 days before the episode went viral? What are the kind of details that they've mentioned in that mail?
So the timestamp, the date stamp on that screenshot of the email sent to 3 NCW IDs, one to the NCW chairperson, second to the NCW complaint email ID, and third to their Northeast branch. Okay. The date there is 12th of June. 12th of June up until, July 20th is what we are looking at, the timeline. So close to 37, 38 days. What did the email really say? It had an attachment, 2-page letter, which says that we have a lot of faith in NCW. It's a quasi-judicial body, and we believe you can bring justice to women. It talks about how a lot of pregnant women are also suffering, but more or less the crux of it is sexual violence. Not just this incident of viral video, but there are other incidents also, at least 5 others, which are listed. Details given actually what happened, what date it happened, how the victims, if they survived. In most cases, the victims did not survive. But if there are survivors, where are they? For example, in this case of the viral video, it clearly says that we have managed to speak to the survivors and their family members. They're currently in a relief camp in Churchandapur. So if the NCW today says that we forwarded the complaint to the DGP and the Chief Secretary, and if they did not act, could they have done something more for, if she's calling up the Chief Minister today, if Rekha Sharma is calling up the Chief Minister today, had she dialed them earlier, could something have been done possibly much earlier than what we are seeing today? we also have to realize that rape is not an easy crime to report.
True.
Even if it happens in the confines of a room, it's difficult to recount. Imagine the horror where we are paraded naked through the streets, there is a mob, and then the video goes viral. Maybe Rekha Sharma and NCW could, with a little more action, with a little more, pushing the system, could have saved them of this kind of mental trauma that they're now going through.
I agree with the point that Arunima is making, and why this becomes even more crucial is because even that complaint and the mail suggests that May 4th was just one of the episodes they mentioned. There were other episodes mentioned as well. So possibly some lives could have been saved. This is what the NCW chairperson Rekha Sharma had to say earlier in the day.
See, I don't know the situation on the ground. What and why, and today when I talked to CM, my purpose was the same, that I should tell them that I am writing again and again to DG and CM, and now it is up to the CM, and he said that I will be talking to them that why they have not replied to NCW. We forwarded all, writing one by one, we forwarded all the complaints and we wrote to them that work on all the complaints. मैंने बार बार उनसे बात करने के बाद जब जवाब नहीं आया तो मैंने सीएम से बात की है.
So there you heard from the NCW chairperson saying that we in fact were in touch with authorities on the ground, but it was the authorities that failed to take any action. Once again raising the multiple lapses that have happened that have resulted in this nationwide shame. So let's bring out the big 5 questions in terms of lapses and the answers that still need to be met. First is, why didn't the NCW inform the DGP as far as this complaint is concerned? The second big question also is, and this is something that I was pointing out earlier as well, why didn't the NCW follow up asking whether any action has been taken? Because the NCW is accepting the fact that there were multiple episodes and incidents that were reported in the mail, but it's the Manipur authorities that didn't do anything. So why was there no communication between the NCW and other authorities? The third question is, how can the police justify leaving the women with the mob? Now, the Indian Express has put out detailed testimonies as far as these victims are concerned, and mincing no words, the victims say, we were in fact fed to the mob with the police standing in complete silence. The fourth question is, did the police in fact ignite the mob? Because many victim testimonies suggesting that all of this happened in the presence of police officials. It in fact happened just 2 kilometers away from a police thana. The fifth question, and the main question is, how can the Chief Minister claim that there will be a fair probe? Because considering the fact there has been inaction, complete silence over the last 2 months. The Chief Minister spoke to the media once again today. He gave an update as far as the probe is concerned, and he said just in the last 2 days about 4 arrests have been made, and he's also assured people that many more arrests will be made. But it's coming too late in the day, which is leading to a lot of political pressure as well from the opposition, which is seeing a direct impact as far as the monsoon session of Parliament is concerned. Let's bring our colleague Arunima back in the conversation to try and understand these lapses on multiple levels. Arunima, today the Chief Minister once again spoke to the media. He's saying, just see the kind of developments that have happened in the last 48 hours. 4 people have been arrested out of the 25 that we were seeing in that video. Many more will be arrested. But the fact is, it's taken 2 months for those 4 arrests to be made. It's coming too late in the day. How can the Chief Minister today claim that there will be a fair probe considering the fact there has been complete inaction?
You know, arrest is just step 1. If you're looking at criminal jurisprudence, you have to get the evidence to prove the case against those who have been arrested. In a rape case, what is the most crucial evidence? It is the medical examination of the victims. If you have made the arrest, if you have moved in this case 2 months after the crime, you've not even managed to establish contact with the victims for 2 months, that crucial medical evidence is gone. Secondly, you're saying that we are relying on the video to really prove our case, but you also need to corroborate the video. Video evidence may or may not be acceptable in court standalone. You do need corroborative evidence. Where are the witnesses? Are they still there in Manipur? Have they fled to neighboring state? Could they be contacted again? So this fact that 2 months has passed in a communal riot kind of a situation, ethnic riot kind of a situation, is a big blow to investigation. Police appears confident that they will be able to arrest everybody in the next 24 to 48 hours, and Chief Minister of Manipur also saying we'll ask for the capital punishment. But till the time we know how you've managed to gather the evidence, we'll just look at it as too little too less.
Yeah. Arunima, that's what there are multiple questions that still remain unanswered. All the action that is taking place today looks like too little too late in the day. Arunima, thanks a lot for getting us all those details. Now let's talk about as far as the politics around the Manipur episode is concerned. As I pointed out, it has a direct bearing as far as the ongoing monsoon session of Parliament is concerned, because on day 2 as well, slogan rearing by the opposition continued, which meant there was no real work that happened. Both houses stand adjourned till 11 a.m. on Monday, because the opposition's demand is clear that only discussion on Manipur needs to happen. There needs to be a presence of the Prime Minister inside the premises of the Parliament. The centre, the BJP, is saying now that the government is ready as far as discussion on Manipur is concerned, it's the opposition that is trying to delay the proceedings, which, as I pointed out, has resulted in adjournment of both the houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, which will now resume with their proceedings at 11 a.m. on Monday. If our colleague Pallavi Ghosh is with us, we'll try to bring her in the conversation to try and understand whether this logjam will only escalate into week 2 as well, and will any real work actually take place. Pallavi Ghosh is now joining us on the broadcast. Pallavi, on expected lines, the opposition continue to mount their pressure, but the government is also continuing with their stand that we're ready as far as the discussion on Manipur is concerned. It's the opposition parties that are trying to delay the proceedings. Is the opposition ready for some sort of middle ground now?
I'm afraid no, Ridhima, and that's the main reason why it could become extremely difficult to perhaps even see some semblance of work happening in the next week of Parliament when it reconvenes on Monday. And what is the fight about? The fight is essentially over the rules. What the opposition is demanding is that first of all, the Prime Minister has to make the same statement which he made inside both the houses, and then only will a discussion begins. Second is the discussion will have to be under Rule 267, which means a motion or a notice will be passed, which means what the opposition wants to do is that when the end of the discussion takes place, there should be a notice or motion passed against the government, which essentially means against the Prime Minister. Very clearly, the government is not in favor of it. The government is saying, you want it now, we're ready to discuss Manipur right now. But it has to be under Rule 176, which means no formal motion, no formal notice. Let's just begin the discussion. And of course, the wrap or the reply will come in from the Home Minister, who is a nodal ministry.
Pallavi, I also quickly want to understand what's the plan as far as the opposition is concerned. Yesterday, we'd seen details of a delegation of the TMC meeting the governor of Manipur. What's the plan as far as the opposition parties are concerned? Are we going to see more delegations now being sent?
So there are going to be those street protests. There are going to be protests leading up to Parliament as well. But apart from that, also significantly, what they are giving a final shape to is that the chief ministers of the like-minded opposition-ruled states, those who are a part of this entire opposition front called India, will travel to Manipur. It is likely to be followed up by representatives of all the 26 political parties who were a part of the opposition front. The idea is to hit the ground, question the chief minister, and more importantly, step up their demand for the dismissal of the chief minister and bringing in precedence rule in the state.
Okay, Pallavi, we'll have to leave that conversation there. Thanks a lot for getting us all those details. Some political reactions now coming in.
मणिपुर में 2 महीनों से पूरा प्रदेश जल रहा है, घरों में आग लगाई जा रही है, मार काट हो रही है, आपस में महिलाओं के साथ भयावह अत्याचार हो रहा है, बच्चों के सर पर छत नहीं रहे, और हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने 77 दिन के लिए कोई बयान ही नहीं दिया इस पे। वहां पे एक्शन लेना छोड़िए, एक लफ्ज नहीं कहा। कल मजबूरी में, क्योंकि एक इतना भयावह वीडियो वायरल हुआ कि वो फिर चुप नहीं रह पाए।
Before the commencement of the Parliament session, monsoon session, Honorable Prime Minister has himself given a statement as to how the nation hangs its head in shame for what has happened in Manipur. It is a serious issue as it is, a sensitive issue as it is.